The following content is rated WW13 for excessive violence, torture, and general abuse. As such, may be unsuitable for pregnant women and those with heart condition and fine craftsmen. Cherries are not so much picked as shaken off the tree. These giant earwig-like machines grab the tree and shake all the cherries off. This leads to a lot of checking in the trunk as the wood dries. Thanks to my brother, I got my hands on this log here from one of those trees. I didn't feel like there was enough checking in the log, so I put it through a regimen to create more. Besides smashing it with a maul, I tossed it into the oven at 265 degrees. Interesting fact, my oven automatically shuts off after 12 hours. Now there's some checking, but not enough. I use a vacuum chamber for 3 hours to suck the air out, and then I let the log absorb water for 12 hours. It is saturated, not even floating. Next, we freeze it. Vanilla, chocolate, and cherry. After another round of baking, there is plenty of checking all throughout the log. This poor log is pretty brittle at this point. Just a little bit more abuse will make it perfect. Broken log. Some assembly required. I know just the thing. Duct tape can fix anything. It doesn't need to be perfect, but I want all the pieces to line up internally so the grain matches later. And since I'm about to, mill the log, I need it to hold together pretty well. I use a makeshift bandsaw sled with a miter gauge to square up the ends. This just has to be good enough. As you can imagine, perfection is just not attainable with a duct tape log. Next, one face of the log is ripped at the bandsaw to get a flat surface. More duct tape is applied to the freshly cut side of the log, and it's rotated 90 degrees for the second face at the bandsaw. At the table saw, the log is squared up. Duct tape is added on the new face after each cut, and I attempt to get the center of the log centered in the blank. Lastly, the blank is cut to length. Stoner is sprayed into the mold as a mold release. I put tape on the bottom of a bowl of bullets to prevent it from sticking to the cast. The scale is zeroed. Then I watch how much Alumilite Part A I put into the cup to estimate half the volume I need. When adding Alumilite Part B, I go a bit slower and watch the weight, as close to exact as Part A. Mixing the Alumilite, I'm careful to scrape the sides and bottom of the cup. I'm stirring until I've removed all of the trails throughout the mixture. Bubbles are not a problem since I'm using a pressure pot. 1 drop of both red and yellow dye is added to the Alumilite. After a little stirring, a little less than half is poured into the mold. Here is the blank before going into the mold. It is unwrapped and pressed down into the Alumilite in the mold. The rest of the Alumilite is poured over the blank in the mold. The stirring stick is used to try pushing the liquid into the cracks of the blank. The mold is then moved into the pressure pot, and the bowl of bullets weighs the wood down in the mixture until it cures. The lid is affixed onto the pot with the clamps. Pressure is added from the compressor up to 70 psi. This pot is rated for 90, use safe pressures for your pot. This room stays at about 60 degrees, so I let this cure while I was at work for the day. I let the air out of the pot, which is nearly as loud as the compressor. The plastic bag keeps the overflow from the mold from sticking to the bottom of the pot. The tape just peels away from the blank. I didn't record removing the sides to pop the blank out of the form. The blank is held in a wood screw clamp while a hole is drilled from the bottom. Next, a tap is chucked into the drill press to make threads in the blank. The blank is threaded onto my makeshift bottle stopper chuck. Using my carbide tip tool, I quickly round out the blank. for it, wait for it. That's pretty cool looking. Next, the end is squared up using the side edge of the cutter. I kind of imagine this looking like a planet cracking up, so I am just doing a ball shape for this stopper. I think I was just inspired by the planet Char in StarCraft. I was getting a lot of chatter from the backside since it's not supported, so I switched over to a skew. I was getting a pretty good cut, if a bit slower than the carbide bit tool. I started sanding with 220 instead of the usual 120 since I didn't want deep scratches in the Alumilite, and I did a bit of sanding with the grain of the wood. After 600 I wiped on some mineral spirits on the stopper, very pretty. Then, using mineral spirits as a lubricant, I used micromesh up to 12,000. That is amazing. I left it for a couple hours to let the mineral spirits evaporate. Finally, I put several coats of the doctor's pen finish on for protection. I'm going to toot my own horn with this one. This turned out awesome. I'm thinking something with an LED could be an awesome nightlight, and I'm sure there are other ideas too. Leave them in the comments below. If you'd like to see more content like this, subscribe, and as always, God bless.